To get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. The child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, and if you do buy our merch and you send us a picture, you will be the channel.
But for all you who are wondering how to get a song review, that is what we were doing right now. James, shout out to James who picked this song, Tragically Hip, So Hard Done By. If you want to learn how to do that, go back and watch the commercial.
So Hard Done By is a very interesting title. I thought it was an error, but it wasn't. So here it is,
yeah.
Tragically Hip, So Hard Done By. Let's go.
Okay. I like that instrument.
Really?
Yes.
Where are these guys going? Where are these guys going?
Interesting and sophisticated, refusing to be celebrated. It's a monumental big screen kiss. It's so deep, it's meaningless. One day he'll just up and quit, and that'll be it. Just then the stripper stopped in a coughing fit. She said, sorry, I can't go on with this. Yeah, that's awful close, but that's not why I'm so hard done by. It was true cinema, a cleft. You should see it before there's nothing left. In an epic too smart to be tragic. You'll have to wait a minute, cause it's an instamatic. Yeah, that's awful close, but that's not why I'm so hard done by. Just then the room became more dimly lit as the MC carried on with it. And now that I got you all strangely compelled, I'm afraid Candy's not feeling well. Close, that's not why so hard done by.
What?
It was like a hip sounding song.
Well, they're the Tragically Hip, my dear.
I know. I saw that. It was just funny to me that it was it was what it.
I'm not gonna lie. I do feel cool when I hear stuff like this.
Wait, you personally feel
I personally feel cool when I hear this.
like you as a person, you feel cool.
Yeah,
or you feel the vibe is cool.
It's got the bass, and like I like the way.
It's so funny. I've never heard you say.
Vocalist. Well, it makes me cool for liking it, is what I feel. I'm really cool liking the song, and if people don't like the song, it's because they're squares.
Really?
Because
That's
they got the
so
tough,
funny.
That bass line is tough, bro. It's like.
I liked it, yeah.
But then the singer comes in, because the bass, it was all brooding. I thought it was going to be very dark. And it was dark in its own way, but it's like.
Yeah.
He was kind of like,
yeah.
Look, man, I'm above all this shit. I'm just reporting to you what is happening.
The goings on.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He was on his shit, man. Like, so I just felt cool. I just felt like, yeah, boy. Yeah, tragic, done by something. So hard done by. Yeah.
So hard done by.
Go ahead.
Well, the beginning made me think of you. Interesting and sophisticated, refusing to be celebrated. There's like so many times in our history, like whether we were married, not married, it didn't matter. I'd be like, seriously, you're literally the best at whatever. It was usually what you talk about, like you just really come with it. And you were like, yeah. Years later, you look back at that stuff, you're like, wow, that stuff was crazy. I'm like, yeah, but you refused to be celebrated at the time.
Yeah, I think that's the way it always is. I think if you're really, really good at something, you're spending so much time like trying to master that craft that you're not, you know what I'm saying?
Realizing how great you are.
You have a lot of time to.
No, if I'm good at something, I'm like, I'm good at that.
Yeah, but like Brady, like for example, Brady, like you don't.
He knows he's good.
Yeah, but you don't see him saying I'm the GOAT, yada yada yada. He never says that.
Well,
because he never watched. See, the thing is, I believe him because he doesn't watch himself play.
Right, yeah.
And if he does watch himself play, he's only watching himself play to see the mistakes that he made so he can correct them.
Yeah.
So when you're in the middle of all that stuff, like it's very hard to accept that kind of, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not. But the other thing is, it's a monumental big screen kiss. It's so deep, it's meaningless.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what a lot of adulation really is. It's just meaningless, like. You know what I'm saying? Like they get caught up in an emotion.
Yeah. No, I do. I think that some of it is being caught up in emotion. I think some of it is because someone wants to control somebody else. But I think that there is genuine recognition of greatness and the celebration of that.
Well, the other thing is if you're an artist, though, I think it's even more tricky because somebody can like your song because of the tune or the melody. But you're pouring so much deep meaning into it.
Yeah, that was...
But they like the tune and the melody, and they sing back to you the chorus or whatever, which is probably like your least favorite part of the song.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and they're like, oh, the song is so deep, but all they're doing is humming one single melody or one chord.
Yeah.
And like, it's so deep, it's meaningless. Like,
yeah.
You have no idea what's underneath what I'm saying. And the thing is, I get frustrated with this all the time because what I'm trying to say is never ultimately communicated by the words that I use.
Yeah.
I theorize that it's probably impossible, especially when you're talking about immaterial things like your emotions or your soul or experiences with God, that it is impossible for words to communicate exactly what that feeling is or what that, like, I love you. I tell Orion I love you. Like, he doesn't have the beginning of even understanding what I'm saying to him. And he's not going to know.
He's 2.
He's not going to... It doesn't matter if he was 25. He's not going to know until he has a child of his own.
Yeah.
And even then, I still don't know. Just because he's connected to you and all that. Like, so he's never going to really know truly how much I love him, because even if he has a child of his own, he doesn't have a child with you and the circumstances and all the rest of it. So it's frustrating at times, like when you try to communicate and the person, like, they're like, oh yeah, I got that or whatever, and you know they're being affected by what you're saying, but you also know
There's a whole bunch
They're
of
at like
yeah.
12 feet, but what you said was 58 feet deep. And there's a whole gap, and there's nothing you can say because the more words you pour into it, the deeper the gap goes.
Yeah, no, it's true.
You know what I'm saying?
It's true. Sometimes it feels like it's a crapshoot. You know, you're trying to explain yourself, especially like you say when you're talking about your emotions, and then you just gonna have you say that's gonna have to be good enough. That's the closest I can get.
Yeah.
But I think that's why things like sex is such a big deal is because if you have sex that is actually love, then you're able to say the words but also feel the feelings and express the feelings, and that gives you another level.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting because the next stanza is about one day you'll just up and quit, then that'll be it. Just then the stripper stopped in a coughing fit. She said, "I'm sorry, I can't go through with this."
Can't go on.
Go right. So like, it's a similar type of thing. Like, and a lot of times, the musician will compare themselves to a sex worker because that's how they feel.
Yep.
By the record label.
Yep.
So I don't even know if he's actually talking about a literal stripper here, or if he's again talking about himself and how he functions as an artist on a record label. Because a lot of times I can imagine that they would say, "You know what? Fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yep.
I can't do this anymore."
Yep.
And maybe he was thinking the same thing. One day he'll just up and quit. This guy, I'm pretty sure.
That's true. Maybe he was talking about himself.
What do you mean?
Saying, like if he's comparing himself to the stripper and how he feels, and then one day I just might get up and quit. Where did it say quitting? You read it right there. One day you'll just up and quit, and that'll be it.
And the stripper stopped just then. The stripper stopped in a coughing fit. She said, "Sorry, I can't go on with this."
You know what I mean? Like maybe he's thinking, you know what? There's going to be a day where I'm going to be like, I'm done with all of this.
Well, the other thing is that this guy died. The
He
singer of the band, I'm pretty sure.
How old is this song?
He died.
Oh, 94? Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Who?
And one of the titles of the song was "The Inevitability of Death."
Oh my gosh.
Like 2 or 3 songs down is the inevitability. So I don't know if because when you're dying or when you're facing your mortality, things that used to hit you as significant aren't really that significant to you anymore.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
so maybe he's like surveying his life and he's like, "Yo, this really isn't that big of a deal. This really isn't that deep." You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I don't know what the phrase "I'm so hard done by" means. What did you think?
I took it as like, I'm so over it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
Yeah, like maybe overcooked or something.
Yeah.
When you cook something, it becomes like too tough.
Hard done by. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that could probably work. It's a way to say, like, I'm over all this. But it was a very subdued... it was an extremely subdued way of saying, "Man, I am over this."
Yeah.
But it probably works.
And the other thing is the sound of the song doesn't match. It didn't sound like someone who's over it. Well, he kind of sounded like someone who's just chill with it.
Well, to me, it sounded like somebody who was, like, chill with the decision to be over it.
Okay,
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because a lot of people wait until they're so frustrated and angry that they can't humanly take it anymore.
Yep.
And then I'm like that.
Yep. You really are.
Yeah, I'm like that.
Yeah, you really are.
I'll be like.
And it's not really a healthy way for you to live, though.
Yeah, that's debatable in my opinion. The problem is that I don't have an intermediary emotional projection with that stuff. So it's like, "Hey, this is bothering me."
Yep.
Then it's like, "Hey, this is bothering me." Then you say for the 14th time, "Hey, this is bothering me." Normally the way that we're socialized is when you hit the 5th or 6th repetition, you're supposed to ratchet it up. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to say, "Hey," you're not like go completely crazy, but you can't be as calm as 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. And so that's how we're socialized, so that we know, okay, this is the 8th time, and that's his cue maybe we need to throttle down on this, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it's probably an idealist in my communication style. Like, why do I, that's manipulative. Why do that? Why can't we just sit down and talk about it dispassionately and then, solve the problem? So then when it hits the 14th time, that's when I'm like, I'm so hard done by. I've had it. Boo, boo, boo. You know what I'm saying? So I understand what you're saying, but then I'm like, well, why did it have to get to 14? And that's always going to be like the...
Yeah, I think
the back and forth
some of the things that Jordan talks about is that, Jordan Peterson, is that when people are in that situation, like, sometimes you need... Like, that's obviously the ideal situation, right? That two people could just sit down and have a conversation quietly, calmly about a certain situation. And then the person that's frustrated with something gets heard by the other person. The other person communicates back that they heard them. And then adjustments are made to make the thing work more smoothly. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. And so when you're communicating how you feel about something, the person says, yep, okay. And they kind of get it in the moment, but nothing really like changes, because the brain patterns are you've done this same action over and over. Like, let's say it's you leave the keys on the table instead of in the car or hanging it up on the key rack, and the person is getting frustrated with it, but you've created the habit from over and over and over putting the keys on the table. And so the next time you get home, you're thinking about something else, and you just move on to your next thing, and you toss the keys on the table and you don't think anything of it. And the person is getting progressively more frustrated with it. And then all of a sudden they just blow a gasket on it. Why do you keep doing this? You're so insensitive, whatever. But if, like he says, using like positive and negative feedback. So instead of waiting until time 50 and then blowing up, express more often how that is affecting you. Hey, this is still a problem. You're still putting the keys. And let's say there's an emotional component to it. Maybe the person says, look, you're putting the keys on the table and it makes me feel like you don't care about my feelings or how I feel about it. Because when I go to get in the car and I can't find the keys anywhere, especially because, I'm an EMT and I need to move quickly when there's an emergency, or, reiterating that information and using words that are, like, some people don't, the angry doesn't work well for them because they get defensive. And so then they're putting up all kinds of walls to protect themselves. So now they're not even hearing you. And so for you to actually come with the, some people, they are actually hurt by a certain action. And instead of expressing the hurt, they express the anger. And so, kind of doing that and creating, like, he explained it kind of like, people need something to kind of jar them a little bit. Because just scientifically, your brain follows a certain pattern and you just keep doing the same thing over and over. So kind of creating an environment that kind of like wakes up the mind to say, hey, this pattern's not working. And just kind of a little bit of repetitive stuff on this pattern is not working. Then that can help. I'm not good with doing the repetitive stuff with somebody. Like, there's a certain thing that I've communicated a little handful of times that I don't like. It's nothing crazy, but it's just like normal marriage frustrations. And this action, you haven't adjusted on this action. And it frustrates me, but I don't want to keep...
The gym thing?
It's the gym thing, yeah.
Untrue, I can show you right now. The latest gym clothes I had are on the washing machine.
Okay, but like 3 days ago, you still did it was just a couple days ago, you did the same thing, and I stepped on your gym clothes after. He goes to the sauna and they're like soaking wet. And then he takes them off and puts them right on the middle of the floor, and I end up stepping on them. Like, it's crazy. And the thing is, there's a bunch of stuff on the floor sometimes, and it's like, why I step on that every time? So I took his shorts and I laid them out to cover the entire area so he would have to step on them before going into bed. It didn't even work. It didn't even affect you.
Well, but this is where the thing happens, right? Because I haven't gone to the gym in 3 or 4 days. The last time I went to the gym, my stuff's on the washing machine.
Yeah, it was the gray shorts, which was the visit before that or whatever. But it happened within the last week, I guess you could say. I stepped on it, babe.
I don't have a problem having the conversation, but those are like those are the things that happen. It was 3 days ago, then it was 5 days ago, then it was 7 days ago, then it was 9 days ago.
Yeah, but the number of days to me doesn't matter. It's that this is something that repetitively happens. It's something that annoys me, but I won't keep bringing it up. I've brought it up sometimes, but I don't bring it up every single time. I didn't even tell you that day when I stepped on it again. But I don't like continually, for some reason, like for me, I feel like to keep bringing something up is annoying. And I don't, you know what it probably comes from? So there's a verse in the Bible that talks about a nagging woman is like a continual dripping. And that was talked about a lot in my upbringing. And so I
Really?
never wanted to be, that nagging woman. And so, and there's also another one that's like, well, I think that's about a contentious woman. But a nagging spouse is like a drip of a leaky faucet. It can
contentious.
That one says contentious. Yep.
Yeah, quarrelsome or contentious.
Yeah, so we, it was always the word that was used was nagging. And so I don't want to be like I think that's like in the back of my head. Like I don't want to nag about it. And for you, it seems like you probably bring up the things that frustrate you more often than I notice. But I won't notice it until all of a sudden you're like angry about it. And I'm like, geez. But then then we'll like talk about it. And then
15 and she'll go, I don't think that's the healthiest way to communicate. It's the 15th time I've said it. But then on the other hand, here's the problem. Here's what happens with us, right? Is that I don't trust your memory. So you will not communicate something because you don't want to be a nagger. And then I'll be like, what do you mean? The thing was on the washing machine. And then you'll be like, oh, it happened 3 days ago. Well, I know for a fact it didn't happen 3 days ago. I haven't been in the gym in that period of time. So then what ends up happening is we have to rely on your memory for the situation to come about. And I'm like, ugh. Whereas if it happened in the moment, then there's nothing. We don't have to worry about that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess for me it doesn't matter, like whether it was a week ago or 3 days ago.
Well, it matters to me because as the days go by, your memory gets worse and worse. Right? I mean, you would agree with that. Your memory's not very good.
Well, it depends on the topic or the subject.
Okay, well, you would agree that my perception of your memory is not.
Oh yeah,
good, right.
I would.
And there's reasons for that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if you were to do it in the moment, then that hurdle that we have wouldn't be there. Because I wouldn't have to worry about whether or not what you're saying is accurate or not. Because it would be right there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But that's where I get so hard done by, because it's like, why would you leave them over there for me to step on to make the point instead of just talking to me? Like that doesn't affect me at all.
Clearly, it didn't.
Like,
yeah.
So to me, I'm like, we're adults. We're in our 30s. Like, like, why would you set this booby trap for me? Like,
because
weird, bro.
I'm booby trapped when I get out of bed and I step on a cold pair of shorts that are all sweaty from the gym. I'm just like, I don't like this. So yeah. I'm like, let me put them over here so you can see
you should tell me,
what this is like.
You should tell me the next time, because, you should just tell me the next time it happens, because you're telling me to take your word for it, basically. And that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for us.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I mean, how long ago was it that you put the shorts on the floor, would you say?
I truly don't remember.
Okay. So we're supposed to go on your memory on it? You don't even remember.
No.
I stepped on them.
No, but the problem is that, let's say it happened 2 months ago.
Oh, right? No, it wasn't. A week is the most. It was like definitely wasn't 2 weeks.
All I'm saying is, I don't want to. The reason I don't want to go by my memory is because my memory is better than yours. So,
but you don't even remember doing it. It's not in your consciousness. Right, you don't care about that.
Right. Well, there could be that, right? But the other conclusion could be it didn't happen. You see what I'm saying?
Rude.
Right. So I don't want it to be my memory versus your memory. I'd much rather us just communicate in the moment. I don't want to have to rely on your memory, and I don't want to have a competition between my memory versus your memory. Mm-hmm. That's why I think it's just so much better if we would just communicate in the moment.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to deal with that hurdle. Because to me, that complicates things so much. Like, why would you want to introduce that kind of a complication?
Well, because if I bring it up, so what goes on in my head? All right, if I bring up this issue, I don't know if you're going to say, well, you always do X, Y, and Z thing. And it's like, okay, so we're not going to deal with that. We're just going to go with something else.
That happens a lot.
I don't know. That's what I feel is going to happen. Like a lot of times when we talk about something, it turns into a big giant conversation. And I'm like, why did it have to go to all that big conversation? I didn't want a big conversation. I just wanted to throw this out there. You disagree? Go ahead. Say what you're thinking.
Well, for me, communication is all, you know me, I'm just a big, we should just communicate. Mm-hmm. I think not communicating introduces so many variables.
I mean, I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
It is difficult to get to the point where we just where I just communicate the things that are whatever.
Well, yeah, I don't have that experience.
What do you mean?
It's not difficult for me to communicate.
You don't communicate everything that annoys you.
If it's enough, if it's, I have like a tolerance level of, you know, and I think every relationship has that where people just tolerate certain things and say that's not going to change.
Yeah, yeah.
But there are other things where I'm like, nope, I'm not tolerating that. That's got to change. And so those things I communicate frequently enough. But I don't think but I agree in principle that, you know, it's not good to wait till you're so hard done by. But this guy is not an exploder. He's just I'm done. He'll just get up and leave and quit. I thought that was very fascinating because there's so many, like when people are fed up with something.
Maybe it looks that way. Maybe that's not what's actually happening.
And pushed to the limit. I don't know, because he was so reserved in the song. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So like when people are fed up with something and pushed to the limit, whether they think, oh, this is not as deep as or you're a pretender or whatever it is, this guy doesn't seem like the guy that's going to have like a nuclear explosion. He's just going to get up and he's going to be gone. He's like, yo, where'd he go? Mm-hmm. And like, that's how he handles 14 and 15. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Which is it's interesting to me how people handle all of those different types of situations. But he says, that's awful close, but that's not why I'm so hard done by. And then the room became more dimly lit and the MC carried on with it. Now that I've got you, strangely compelled, I'm afraid Candy's not feeling well. Close, but that's not why I'm so hard done by. So you never really know with the guy what the problem is. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he's not going to tell us.
Yeah, he just keeps telling us that it's close, but he's not going to give it to us.
He's not going to tell you what's going on. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So by the end of it, he's just going to be gone. And again, there's some relationships where that's okay. Obviously, in a relationship like this, you know what I'm saying? I hope that that's not the, you know what I'm saying? Like a relationship like this, you don't want that to happen. But I think there's some relationships where like that's okay. Because I'm like that. I'm like that with a bunch of other relationships.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight with you.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be done.
Yeah. I think that, you know.
And there's people that I'm like, okay, I'm done with this person. And it wasn't anything really like against me that they did. It's just that they're too needy. Mm-hmm. And once I reconnected with the person, they started being needy again. And again, it's not an attack. And it wasn't something that I ever communicated like, yo, you're a very needy person, sis. Mm-hmm. I never said that to them. But it was just like, I was like, oh, this is why I didn't talk to this person. Because there's so much stress connected with being around this person. Mm-hmm. So I just stopped talking to them. Mm-hmm. And I've been talking to her in literally like a year and a half, and like not a single word. You know what I'm saying? And mm-hmm. I'm completely at peace with that. Yeah. But she'll probably never know because she's in a group of people that
won't tell her.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I have no reason to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no reason whatsoever to... Because if I say to that person, I'm not hanging out talking to you anymore because you're too needy, then it would be another conversation. And you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I just rather just be like...
Yeah, I think that, like, I appreciate that, you know, because we've had these conversations before, that because of who I was in my community and in my church and whatever, people didn't really confront me with anything unless it was coming from like some spirit of jealousy. That's when I heard what everybody had to say. But then I just wrote that off because I'm like, yo, I know what that is. I've seen this a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So I was never really, confronted on any of my issues as a person. And so, we're in our relationship, and obviously when you're spending this amount of time with each other, your flaws are going to be known. The other person sees them and knows them. And that's been difficult for me to face that. But also at the same time, one of the things I just love, I love some Jordan Peterson, I'll tell you. And, he has a lot of stuff on relationships. And one thing that he said was, you do not want a person that you're married to just be a yes person that's going to agree with everything you have to say, that's going to never point out any of your flaws, because they're the closest person to you and they love you, hopefully. And so they're going to be, they're going to be seeing your issues, but then they're going to want to also see you get better because they want to see the best version of you, not just for them. I'm sure it'd make life easier for them, but they want the best for you because they love you. And so that's one thing that I definitely say about our relationship that I appreciate, even though in the moment, sometimes it's a little difficult because I don't necessarily like, yay, let me see all of my flaws, you know what I mean? But when, you'll bring stuff to my attention that I'm like, shoot, that is a problem. I'm grateful that I have somebody that's not just going to yes me, and somebody that, we can grow together.
But not all things that get addressed in a relationship are necessarily a person's flaws. So for example, I don't take the...
Right, that's true.
I don't take the previous conversation about the shorts or whatever as a flaw. It's a preference. And so then the next thing I say to myself is, well, if she's got that preference and she's not asking you to compromise any of your personal ideals, what's the harm in doing it? Mm-hmm. Well, okay, yeah, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. See, so I wouldn't read it that.
I'm not looking at that as you're pointing out a flaw. Now, if I react to that and I say, man, fuck you, I don't care how you feel, that would be a flaw.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but is there really any material difference between? Well, I mean, yeah, there is, but like if something is important to somebody, we had these conversations before. I'm trying to think of one the key one was one of them. Actually, that was an issue. I kept leaving it in my purse, and it was very much annoying to you because, okay, so we have a car starter. You just push the button and it starts the car. So you don't actually need the keys in there. So the keys were in my purse. You go in, you push the button, you just forget about them completely. Come in the house with the keys and not even think another thing of it. Then you go in there to use the car. They're not on the key rack. They're not in the box where we could keep them. They're in my purse, and now we're looking for the keys. Where are they? Where's your purse? It's a big thing, So you could look at that as...
late for a movie.
I'm sure we were late for a lot of things. Oh, my word. And my mother used to do that to my father growing up, and I would be like, wow. I am my mother.
But I don't think that that's a flaw.
Well, couldn't it be seen as one if, it's brought to my attention and I just carry on and keep forgetting because I'm not putting the focus on that? It's not like I'm intentionally forgetting.
There's
it's just
things that you intentionally said, no, fuck you, I don't care.
Yep.
But the key thing I don't think was one of them. It was just not. It was not something. That
no,
was important
it wasn't.
To you. It wasn't important to you until we were looking for them. And I always operate by the principle of it's better to be proactive than reactive. Mm-hmm. But you are okay with being reactive, and so that creates a
well, in some things, I'm not good with being reactive if it comes to like safety, kid safety.
Agree.
I don't like that. I don't like being reactive. I don't like being reactive to we have a weekend. Like I want to plan it and I want to know, like, I want to have a good detailed plan.
Right.
Right. And I'm okay with, I know that you think that I'm not good with deviating from that plan, but as long as I have a plan and then I say, okay, like, yeah, we might float off this plan, but because I don't get a lot of like detailed plans down, and honestly, it's very hard to detail plan when you have so many kids because there's always something that's unexpected. Like we took a trip and then all of a sudden, oh, look at that. The 2-year-old just threw up. Like who could have planned that?
Yeah.
And I didn't plan for extra clothes. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff like that where you can't plan it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with like kind of, but I do like to have a plan.
What do you give the song?
I liked this one, but probably would go with an 8.9.
This is a solid 9.3 for me.
Ooh, 9.3. Okay.
Yes, I thoroughly.
So be honest.
This is a song I call a slow burner. Is what I call it.
Yes. Oh, I thought it wasn't recording the whole time because I saw 0, but that's 0 people watching because we're not live.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I already gave it. I already rated it what I'm going to rate it.
So what were you saying? Be honest?
Yeah, be honest with each other. You know, don't wait until
don't wait until you're so hard done by.
Here comes his cookies.
Yeah,
he has the children cook it because
there's a big jihad between Soraya and Selah because the way that Selah does the cookies are like literally top notch, and I've had her do the cookies a bunch of times, and
it's just too bad.
Let's
he wants cookies almost every single night, and I just keep
off.
messing it up. So I guess I won't have to cook them.
Let's just sign off.
I'm so sad about it.
Having said that, dear listener, Vin out.
Sorry out.
Go. I got you on camera.